Greetings, my fellow beings. My name is Amanda, and today we are going to be talking about sensory processing disorder, or SPD. Woohoo! Now, I do need to take care of a little bit of business before we start this. I had said in my last video that there was a condition called neurocardiogenic syncope, and it's actually syncope. And I was kindly told that I said it incorrectly, so I just want to make sure that everybody knows that it is syncope and not syncope, even though it's spelt syncope, but you're supposed to pronounce the E at the end. So just wanted to let you know. And yes, I do appreciate corrections. Just be nice about it, because the person who told me was very sweet about it, and now I know. I have learned, and that's what this channel is about learning new things. So if you do have a correction, go ahead and put it in the comment section down below. So SPD is a condition where sensory input is not processed correctly by the brain and the nervous system. It is an unusual sensitivity to environmental stimuli, and so you could have adverse reactions to things like the toilet flushing or the feeling of clothes, and you can be either hypersensitive, which is oversensitive, or you could be hyposensitive, which is understimulated by stimuli. And this can make some everyday things in your life unbearable to deal with. Now, children are more likely than adults to have sensory processing disorder, but adults can have it, and it usually carries on from childhood. So most of the adults that you know that have sensory processing disorder will have it from when they are children. So when it comes to hypersensitivities or hyposensitivities, there are differences when it comes to everyday life with these conditions. So when we talk about hypersensitivities, we're talking about things like extreme response to fear or sudden high-pitched loud or metallic noises, may notice or be distracted by background noises that others don't seem to hear, fearful of surprise touches, avoids hugs and cuddling even with familiar adults, seems fearful of crowds, avoids standing in close proximity to others, doesn't enjoy the game of tag, overly fearful of swings and playground equipment, extremely fearful of climbing or falling even when there is no real danger, and has poor balance and may fall often. So that's what responsiveness is. That is hypersensitivities. Now for hyposensitivities, which is under responsiveness, there's things like a constant need to touch people or textures even when it's inappropriate to do so, doesn't understand personal space when peers understand it, clumsy and uncoordinated movements, extremely high pain tolerance, often harms other children and or pets when playing because they don't understand their own strength, may be very fidgety and unable to sit still, enjoys movement-based play like spinning, jumping, etc., seems to be a thrill seeker and can be dangerous at times. So that's what we talk about when we talk about hypostimulation or under-responsiveness to stimuli. When it comes to sensory processing disorder, we're talking about all of the senses, and we always say that there's 6 senses, but technically there are 8 senses, and probably a lot more. But the senses that are out there are things like visual or sight, tactile or touch, olfactory or smell, auditory, which is sound, gustatory or taste, vestibular, body movements, proprioception, which is body awareness, or interoception, which is the latest sense to be discovered. That relates to basic body functions like hunger, needing to use the toilet, breathing, things like that. That's interoception. And people that have a problem with interoception probably won't be able to tell that they're hungry or thirsty. Now, I'm going to be splitting this up into a series and talking about the different types of stimulation that can be diagnosed under sensory processing disorder, such as auditory processing disorder, visual processing disorder, things like that. I'm going to be separating into other videos because there is a lot of information when it comes to sensory processing disorder. And when I was doing research for this, it has taken me a long time to put together research for this because it is so dense. So I'm going to be splitting this up so that the videos aren't too long and that we can learn about each one of them together. The children who suffer from sensory processing disorder can go their entire life and have no idea that that's what they're suffering from. And as adults can have problems dealing with the world and not really understand why it's a problem for them, but yet it's not for others. So things like the lights may be too bright or your clothes may be too scratchy. For me, I can't stand when collars are too tight. Like if I put them over my head, if it squishes my face too much while I put it on, then I freak out. I also can't stand scratchy clothing. That overstimulates me and I go insane. And as a child, flushing toilets was something that caused me a lot of panic. And so I used to flush the toilet and run out of the bathroom because it used to scare me half to death. And as a child, I didn't know why. And it isn't until I'm an adult that it is making sense to me as to why that was so loud and terrifying. Some people can't stand strong perfumes. Then there's the whole thing with wearing shoes. Some people can't stand wearing shoes and some people can't go without wearing shoes. My sister is in the camp of you have to wear socks and shoes and it is a must. And I am in the camp of I hate shoes and I hate socks and I don't want to wear either. So we're in two different camps here and we're both stimulated the same way where it aggravates us to have the opposite of what we prefer. Tags on clothes can be another thing that aggravates someone. I have to cut off a lot of my tags in my clothing because it's so scratchy and it drives me insane. And so that means as an adult, you can be overly stimulated or understimulated by things around you. And you can feel attacked by the stimuli that are happening to you. And this is caused by a sensory overload, because your brain and nervous system are not interpreting the information that is coming in correctly. And these can be detrimental to your mental and physical health, especially if you don't know what's going on. Because of this disorder, people can have certain deficiencies in an individual's ability to use and process the information that is coming in. And sometimes the brain cannot process sensory information, and this can cause learning disabilities or problems learning or picking up what's going on around you. And in this case, a person's ability to be comfortable in their space is impaired. So sensory processing disorder can be quite overwhelming, especially if you don't know what's going on and you don't understand why other people are not reacting the same way that you do to the stimuli that are coming in. Like Friday night, I went to a musical with my mother-in-law and my sisters-in-law, and we were standing in the parking lot and there was a car that had a really bad brake system and it was squealing every time the person would slow down, and I couldn't even listen to the conversation. All I could hear was these brakes and it was infuriating, and I finally just yelled out, I was like, "You need to get that fixed, you're driving me insane." And everybody stopped and like, what needs to be fixed? I'm like, "You can't hear that?" And then they all stopped and were like, "Well, what are we listening for?" I'm like, "The squealing!" And they finally heard it and they're like, "Oh yeah, that is kind of annoying." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh. No, it's annoying right now. It's very annoying." So it can be disorienting, it can be overstimulating, and it can make your life very uncomfortable, especially if you don't understand what's going on. There's still a lot of research being done on this condition, and a lot of professionals don't even believe that it is its own thing, and they don't treat it correctly because of the fact that they don't believe that it's its own thing. So that is a quick overview of what sensory processing disorder. Like I said, I'm going to be breaking this down into the different types of sensory disorders that there are so that we can delve deeper into this, because there is a lot of information. So I hope that you learned something new and you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video and you want to continue learning with me, then go ahead and click that subscribe button and go ahead and click that like button if you did enjoy this video. Remember to be kind. Kindness is free, so give it out to everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Don't you have a music stand somewhere you could put it on?
I do have a music stand in the back room.
That's as good as lost.
But it's by the bookshelf on this side.
Anyone out there on the interwebs, just know the back room is code for black hole. Everything goes in, nothing comes out. I'm gonna come back in 5 minutes. Send a search party. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
You read 2 pages at a time?
Well, they're back to back.
You would, you hippie.
Yeah, I know.
Don't think that was the best move.
I know. You know what? Those are going to be different things. Because that is... Now, children that are diagnosed with sensory processing disorder can live their entire lives. Nope, that doesn't make sense. Nope. Children who suffer from something. You can't get it. Thank you. Go over there. I can't talk to you right now.
He came running towards you. He wanted to be in your video.
So children who suffer from spatial awareness, what am I saying? Sensory processing disorder. Oh my gosh. All right. For me, I can't stand when callers are, hi. I am... I know he knows. We'll snuggle in a bit. And because of this thing that I'm talking about, that I can't think of what I'm talking about, remember to be kind. Kindness is free.
Remember,